Welcome back to the Moisture Farm, everybody. We are so close to jump to lightspeed, and we are even closer to pre-release weekend. This past weekend, I was able to do a sealed finale at my local game store for Twilight of the Republic, which I thought would be good sealed deck building practice for pre-release weekend. I know a lot of us are going to try and hit multiple pre-releases, hopefully get some prize packs, and get as much value out of that as possible. So I've got some sealed gameplay and deck building footage for you today. Before we jump into that, just a little bit more about sealed and the pre-release format, what it's going to look like. Each of our kits are going to have 6 packs. Also in the box outside of those packs will be the hyperspace spotlight leaders for this set, which are the new Han and the new Boba. New Boba is very exciting to me. I would be surprised if I don't end up building around that. But it's all about what you get in your packs, right? So we'll crack those packs. We'll get about an hour of deck building, depending on your local game store, what they've got set up. And after that, you're playing with those constructed decks, and you're playing to win, hopefully get some prize packs and get some extra goodies from your local game store. I'm just so excited for pre-release weekends. They're always so much fun. I get out to as many as possible. So let's jump into the deck building, the pack opening for my Twilight finale. I'll kind of talk about my strategy, what I'm thinking in my head. You'll hear a lot from different guys about what's a value in limited, and hopefully apply those deck building skills and sharpen them for pre-release weekend. All right, so I'm all set up here. Got my 7-Up, got my mat laid out, got all my packs lined up, and we're jumping right into cracking packs. So what I like to do when I'm opening packs is sort by aspects. A lot of times I'll sort like specific aspects, like I'll go, green hero, green villainy, red hero, red villainy, red, colorless, all that stuff. This time I went with a different approach where I just kind of put all colors together at first, so I can kind of just get an overview of what I have in each color, bulk wise. And then on the bottom corner, which is a little tough to see because the camera angle, is where I put like my rares or just key cards that I might want to build around. Like usually it's the rares. So you're sorting out in what I'm looking for as I'm cracking these packs. I'm looking for stat value for sure. Stats are really important in limited. Just units that have good stats for their cost, right? Getting value that way. Removal is also very important. So obviously, in the blue shell, you've got a lot of card removal. You've got Vanquish and Perilous Position and things like that. But also removal in terms of ambush or damage ping cards, things like Daring Raids, Open Fires, and ambush units in yellow and green. Bounce also, like the fighter I just pulled. Bounce counts as removal, or fits into that category somehow. You know what I mean? Got my leaders up top there. Sometimes the glare is going to get in the way of some of the cards, but I think all in all you'll get a good view of everything. So obviously your leaders determine what you really have access to play, which is really important. Going through this bulk, definitely paying attention to those key cards. Had a nice little pack there, a little hyper foil Petronaki. Not a bad pull. So, and then you're also looking for bombs, really, like late game stuff, game finishers, things you can get out. So as you can see, I've pulled a Malevolence, which is hiding in that corner there. I've also got a Zillo Beast. So obviously I've got 2 pretty strong finishers in blue. And Malevolence, I mean, I call it a finisher, but it's an exploit card. It can come out super early in the right circumstances. Zillow Beast obviously is a late game bomb, a 10/10 that heals itself at the end of the phase, and when it comes down, gives everything -5 on the ground arena. So you'll notice, like, leaders wise, leaders, you're looking for obviously good abilities, but also this particular set we have Anakin, which is easily the most played leader in limited because of his stats. I mean, a 6-drop, that's a 4/7 base, but with base damage he's getting pumped up. So I'm taking a look at green shell overall, thinking about Anakin. If you have the right bulk cards, or even just uncommons or commons, to build around Anakin, which, arguably I do here, right? I've got some good mid game. I've got 2 heavies, so that is nice with Anakin. That 2-drop trooper that I'm putting down right here, the militia, is solid. The 3-drop 3/3 that heals if you got a Republic is good. Now I'm a little bit skewed here because I have played so much limited in this particular set, and I have played Anakin so many times. So, for me, if I was really, really, really trying to like go undefeated, I probably would have tried to make Anakin work. But as you'll see, as I'm sorting it out, now I'm sort of breaking it out by the double aspects to see specifically, in a particular shell, what I'm looking at. Going down to my bottom row, I've got a Malevolence, a Zillow Beast, a Rush Clovis, which is good stats and a good ability. I have multiple Unmask the Conspiracies and Sly Moore. And then as I'm looking through my yellow bulk right now, I've got 2 of those Sharpshooter Ambushes, which are good. The Bounce Fighter. So I'm really feeling like I might give Villainy Yellow a shot here. My biggest problem with that is my only leader that gives me access to play Villainy cards is Newt Gunray, who is god awful. Who is so bad. But with this strategy and with these cards I've pulled, I've kind of got some play with Newt that for me would just be more fun than trying to like build an Anakin deck without. I mean, I don't have any resupplies. I don't have any General's Blades in blue. Like, I don't have, I don't have anything crazy to make Anakin really good. What I do have is potentially some spicy plays with Newt Gunray. I've got a lot of 1-drops. I've got Unmasking a Conspiracy, which is solid discard. And I've got solid exploit plays with Malevolence, the 4/5 Saboteur exploit. I've got a Droideka Security, and with Newt, I'm in blue, so I can still play my removal options with Perilous Position. I think I pulled 1 Vanquish, and I've got some value down there in the single villain aspect, which is right behind my head and my hands. But I've got a Super Battle Droid, the Sentinel tank, and a Hailfire tank, which I don't believe I put the Hailfire tank in. But that's kind of my approach. Like, could I make a more competitive deck with this pool and a different leader? Maybe. But in a 30-card deck, that is something I failed to mention earlier. Pre-release, it's 30-card decks that you're building minimum. With 30-card decks, like, I'm going to see most of these cards in a game. And if I play my lines right and I, am smart with my opening hand, I can set myself up for some pretty hard to deal with plays, like getting a Malevolence out super early, stalling with removal to get Zillow Beast out, getting some, those saboteurs, exploiting those guys out, maybe baiting an Anakin flip early and then exploiting out my Droidicas. There's a lot of ways I could set this up, and for how awful Newt Gunray is, he will help me make some tokens that I can help exploit with, which, I'll give him a little credit for that. So that is what I end up building is Newt Yellow with, placing emphasis on, like playing 1-drop plays, like turn 1, playing 2 1-drops turn 1 is not terrible. You see I've got the clone divers there. I'm not playing those Jar Jars. Those are going away for sure. But I like setting myself up for a big Malevolence play, which can be really hard to deal with if you don't have ways to ping damage off of Malevolence, or Sentinels to block it, which there's not a lot of in this set. Getting Malevolence out early in limited, for me at least, has been a pretty solid play. So I eventually will start putting this together. It takes a while for you to commit to playing Newt Gunray as a leader. It's definitely a decision that weighs heavily on you. So now I'm going to organize everything by cost, and my big fat head is going to get in the way and mess up the focus a lot, and glare and all that stuff. Just pristine production value, folks. That's how we live at the Moisture Farm. Prison of War is kind of a cool card. You get to capture something, which in limited, capture is a kind of slept on mechanic in my opinion. And then depending on circumstances, you can also make a token out of that play, or make 2 tokens, I think. So token generation is something that, I'm trying to do here. Oh, maybe I did put the Hailfire tank in there. I don't even remember that. But yeah, you see I've got, like, those 1-drops are not good units, but if I play 2 1-drops and then play a 3-drop or Prerelease his turn 1 play, it can set me up. If both of those units survive the second phase and I go into phase 3, then I can start thinking about some nasty plays. And the other thing about 1-drops that I like, if you're building around, exploit, is you can put it down. Like, for example, on my 8 resource turn, which would be 1 resource short to play Malevolence straight up, I can put down a 1-drop and get the exploit, assuming my board is empty, right? So you can get exploit value for 1-drops because you're paying 1 to get a 2 resource reduction. So 1-drops are okay. And I think I am right at 30 cards here with this board. My removal options are not great, but there are a couple. And I'm really just building this little 30 card deck around getting a Malevolence out and a Zillow Beast, and hopefully that's enough. So this is my deck at a glance. I'm going to scoop it up and sleeve it, and we'll jump into some games. So I did get a bye the first round. So going into my second round against the Anakin Green, of course, because we're playing Twilight Limited. Of course we're playing an Anakin Green. I got Jesse sitting across from me. Definitely afraid of playing Anakins, considering that my only real way to deal with it is like a Prerelease and maybe trading into it. a timely malevolence play can like shut him down for a phase. And if my Zillo Beast is even played while Anakin is still out there, then it's just a lot of like meh ways to deal with Anakin. So let's jump ahead here. Let's jump ahead. We're taking mulligans. And okay. We are going. Looks like I have initiative here. And I start with political pressure. So either Jesse discards a random card from his hand, or I make 2 droid tokens. Jesse's going to think about that for a second. He's going to think about how badly he does not want to give me exploit options, which is reasonable. Keep moving my chair, and my green screen's popping up right there. I got to hold still. So Jesse plays the Coruscant Guard. I'll play a 1-drop on top of my political pressure. And we'll go to phase. Jesse has initiative here. And he's probably going to want to start putting pressure on my base here. I'll just make a little trade right there. Kind of stall out as much as possible. Batch Brothers is a good play for Jesse. And nothing coming out of my hand that phase. I've got a 2-1 and a 2-2 that I'm staring at on the other side. And we'll play the Sharpshooter and trade in, or not trade, but ambush 1, and I get the value of keeping that Sharpshooter up. So I love the stats on that card, and that's just a really good card to have in yellow and limited. Claiming initiative, Jesse's going to get 2 more into my base. Definitely want to limit base damage for myself, obviously, but also base damage for Jesse as well, because I'm not trying to race him, and if I do try to race him, then when his Anakin flips, he's going to come out all beefy. So I'm going to play the Patrol Fighter for its full costs, which will bounce that Republic ship, and then Jesse played a Sentinel, and I traded right into it. No hesitation there, trading into that Sentinel. You can kind of see right there, I've got the Malevolence in my hand. It's just all about, getting my board set up and getting things timed out. We are on the Anakin flip turn, so, a little worried about that. Flip Newt right off the bat. If, I'm not worried about losing Newt to anything that comes out of his hand. Trade into Batch Brothers. Make the droid. I forgot to ready my Patrol Fighter, so I just did that. The board is cut off. I believe Jesse played the... Oh, man, I can't believe I cut that off. I can't see what Jesse's playing over there. Poor camera work. So Jesse's got a unit. He's got a 4-3, the Overwhelm, and now he's flipped Anakin. Now I've got 3 units on board, and I've got a Malevolence in my hand. So I'm just doing some exploit math here. I know I want to get Malevolence out. That's a great way to kind of shut down Anakin. And the one thing I will say about Newt is you do not feel bad exploiting him, because as a leader, he's just not good. So Malevolence comes down, shuts down Anakin for the phase. And now I've got a very nice space board against a scary Anakin ground board. But you can also see, I just flashed camera, I do have a perilous position in my hand. Jesse's going to play Encourage Loyalty or Encourage Leadership, whatever the word is. Give everything +1/+1. I will punish him for taking that action by Perilous on Anakin. He'll go in for some damage on base. I'll swing in Malevolence, get some Restore going. Got my Patrol Fighter. So, we're neck and neck right here. I've got 14 on base. Jesse's got 13. I've shut down Anakin 2 phases in a row. Feel pretty good about that. I've got a Droideka Security in my hand that will help kind of slow down Anakin for a 3rd phase in a row now that everything's tapped out. Jesse's got 1 resource up, so I'm not afraid of losing that. I just wanted to make sure I was okay with sacrificing that fighter, which I am. Sentinel will help keep me ahead. You can see I've also got my Zilla Beast right there. You can kind of see the corner. So I am ready for that to come out, but I think we're going into resource 8, so I think I have to wait a little bit. And Jesse's definitely got a scary board. First action, tapping all the way out for the big Restore tank. I think it's a 6/9, like Vanguard tank, with Restore 2. I apologize for the camera work. I don't know how that got cut off. I do have a piece of removal in my hand. You can see I've got a Vanquish there. Trying to figure out how I want to spend resources this phase. More importantly, trying to figure out what to do with my Droideka. Do I go into base, or do I... he's got a 3/4 Saboteur right there, so that thing can ignore my Droideka. So I decided to go ahead and trade into that. I still get to kind of stall a little bit. He'll get a little bit of overwhelm on that Droideka Security, which I'm okay with. Anakin is, a lot smaller now with the Perilous position. And, Malevolence being a 9 damage swing, 7 damage on base with a Restore 2. I'm okay, feeling okay with Anakin trading in. We're doing the math and making sure he's going to deal the right amount of damage. Jesse's up to 20 on base. That'll put me at 20 as well. And I'll Vanquish the tank, and Jesse's going to get in that 3 damage to base, and I will claim. So, Jesse is, let's see. So, Anakin with base 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, Anakin swinging in for 6, and that for 3 is lethal damage for me. But with initiative, I drop the Zilla Beast, which will shrink Anakin dramatically. And then Jesse's going to start playing upgrades on Anakin. And I'm going to kind of cover myself by taking out that 3/4 ship. Just because I know I've got my Zilla Beast out. I've got the Malevolence out. So, board control is super important to me. And then I believe I just claimed initiative at that point. He's going to try and play out what he can. See what he can possibly do. And I think he's going to come up short. So, the deck did what I'm trying to do. I got Malevolence cheated out a little early, and I shut down Anakin, for 3 phases. The Perilous really comes in clutch because, obviously that exhaust and then the damage shrink as well is very, very useful. So, whenever you can kind of come in as the underdog against the Anakin deck in Limited, it always feels good. So I ended up going 2-0 against Jesse. That second game, he just drew super poorly and never even had any chance for board control. So I took that game. And what do you have it? My third and final round is against a Mirror Newt Yellow. How in the hell does that happen? So yeah, interesting matchup. Not nearly anything I was expecting. Um, you know, if he does have, the big top end like I do, it's going to be tough considering that my removal options for someone that's playing a blue deck were not great. I'll go ahead and jump ahead to, we have resourced, and I will play the 1/4, and he will play the 2/5 that you have to deal damage to. So, very, very thrilling, exciting turn 1 plays, moving the needle. It's both of us are going to be trying to get in exploit plays. We'll go and chip a little bit of damage here with these units. I'll exploit the 1/4 out for that 4/5 Saboteur guy, which I like in limited. 4 damage Saboteur you can cheat out pretty early. It's kind of cool. It's nice. Feels good and get some value. He will play the legendary 4/4 Grievous on curve, which is 4/4 for 3 is just good stats. Obviously, he's not doing any crazy lightsaber stuff. That would be so scary. So scary. So now I get to play Prisoner of War, and I'll capture Grievous, and because Grievous costs less than my guy, I get to make 2 droids. So that's a cool swing play for me. Obviously he is going to try and once he gets Grievous back, that might be a little tricky for me, but he'll take away one of my droids. I'll get in a little damage on base. He's looking for his play, gonna exploit a Droideka security, which I can ignore with my Saboteur, so I'm okay with that. I've got a droid token also for exploit going into the next phase, which I'm glad to be able to calculate for myself. And with the Saboteur and a unit that he is going to try and want to get back, I definitely am going to take advantage of that and get some damage in on base, because he's going to want to play control to get that unit removed and get his Grievous back. I'll send 4 into my base as well. Keep up with me. And I will play my own Sentinel. And he will play the same Sentinel, only a foil version. So, right on. Good for him. Touche. I'll use my droid to just put 1 damage into the Droideka. I could have kept it for next phase, the exploit, but we got to get rid of those Sentinels somehow. And I've got that Saboteur, so it ain't going anywhere. Now, because of that 1 damage on Droideka, I can use my Saboteur to swing in and take out the Droideka and stay up. With 1 damage left on my Saboteur. I'm trying to decide if that's the move I want to do. Either one of my units I can swing in to remove the Droideka. He's going to start with initiative, though, and Prerelease my Saboteur, which makes it weaker, which is not cool. I'll go ahead and take out the Droideka. And now he can make the value there by getting rid of my Sentinel and keeping his up. I believe we're in 6 resources now, so time to flip Newt. He's trying to decide if he wants to do the same, and ultimately he will. Get to take out that Sentinel with Newt, which feels pretty good, and I'll remember to get my droid out there. So now I've got some stuff to play with. He's got 3 resources up and a Newt gun ray, so lots of possibilities as soon as he swings in Newt. Who knows with that droid and 3 resources, he's got some game in there. We'll swing Newt for Newt, trade some damage, and I'll play that suppressor without exhausting anything. Not bad to have a 4/7 stat down there. And he will exploit that token for his own 4/5 Saboteur. And I'll take initiative. So lots of trading back and forth. No swings on base that phase. That leader deploy phase for Newt, you're ideally trying to set up something big with, your leader flip, and then you get a token. I'll go ahead and start with initiative here, trying to figure out what I want to exploit with, or even if I want to. And I'll pay full cost for the Droideka Sentinel, which he does have a Saboteur. He can choose to ignore that if he wants to. He is definitely thinking about getting that Grievous back from the shrunk down Saboteur on my board. He knows he can do it. He'll go ahead and make that trade. And now he's got his Grievous back exhausted, which I do not want hanging around. I can swing my suppressor into it. Stay up with 3 damage. Feels pretty valuable to me. Prerelease Newt to take him out, which that's okay. Newt, 2 damage body. He's going to give his Newt Sentinel, which is a little spooky. Newt's got a big behind, so giving it Sentinel is pretty good. Pretty good. Definitely going to have to figure out how to get around that. He'll go into my Droideka, lose a token, hello. And you can see I don't have any of my big cards in my hand yet. And I did not get them just then either. You can see from his side he's got removal option, and he's got a tank. He's got a good board worth of exploit material if he wants to go ahead and get that tank out for cheaper. Trying to figure out what my best move is without having any of my big swing plays. You can see I've got that bounce fighter. Do I really want to bounce anything that's on the board right now? Probably not. Might bounce that Saboteur, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Newt's got 6 damage on him, so I know I can take him out for 2. Or 4, sorry, but either way, play that sharpshooter ambush to get rid of the Sentinel. So now I've got 4 resources up, 2 units. He'll take a droid into my Droideka to send it away. And now I've got a 4/7 on board. And I'll go ahead and swing in on base. And he will trade his Saboteur for my suppressor. I'll make a droid, and now he brings out the tank. So nice play for him to get some control on the board. Presence with a big unit. A 7/8 compared to my measly 1/1. So you got to find ways to get rid of that. You can see now I've got my Zillow Beast in my hand. And I believe, are we on? Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I'm 1 turn short of getting the Zillow Beast out. That bounce card isn't going to do any good with the tank because I believe the cost has to be 3 or less. Got jazz hands coming from my opponent there. He's got he's vibing right now, and good for him. I've got a noticeable advantage on base right now, base damage, although one swing from the tank is going to mess with that. A perilous position will keep that tank from swinging in. That feels good. He'll play the Magna Guard, which comes down with as a Sentinel. And I'll go ahead and play the Fighter to bounce him. And he'll go ahead and replay that, which is fine. I like bouncing a card for someone and then to just play that card again. I feel okay with that. So that Magna Guard will lose Sentinel as we regroup here. And now I am on curve to play my Zillow Beast, which will definitely help control this board for me. I've also got a Vanquish in my hand, trying to decide if I want to play that Zillow Beast. I'll go ahead and just Vanquish the tank, trying to set up for maybe a more devastating Zillow Beast. And play a little Sentinel there, which I'm sure he'll have no problem just trading into. Just kind of deflect some of that damage on base, and then I get to swing in with my Fighter. So this is definitely going to be a grindy game with blue decks that aren't heavy-hitting leaders. Claiming initiative, he's got the Magna Guard coming back up, a soulless one, and a droid. Soulless one I can take out and retain my patrol fighter, so definitely keeping that in mind. Besides my Zillow Beast, my hand is a dud right now. I've got a 1-drop and then like the droid cohort upgrade, I think. So Magna Guard gets Sentinel again now that a unit has died. He's going to go get some damage in on base. And I'll play the Dive Trooper there. He'll take out my Dive Trooper, put the cohort on my droid token. And if you're wondering why I'm not playing my Zillow Beast, it's because I know he's got removal options. And I want to, if I do play my Zillow Beast, I want to make sure it comes in at the right time. You can see now I've got my Malevolence out in my hand. So I've got both my big hitters in my hand, but I know at this point in the game, if I play them, I'm playing them into open resources, which, you can see right there. He has what I've been expecting him to have, which are 2 Vanquishes. I've already used my 1 Vanquish, so as far as removal goes, he's got an upper hand, undoubtedly. And I'll go ahead and just do it. Play my Malevolence. Shut down I guess I shut down the Starfighter, to keep him from trading into Malevolence. Magna Guard swings in. I think I took out his droid just because I could make that trade. Magna Guard goes in for 3 more. So now he's got advantage on base health and then vanquishes the Malevolence and has some more resources to spare. Oh, it doesn't play anything though. So going into phase, lost my Malevolence. Don't feel great about that. And, it's just smart for my opponent knowing to at this stage of the game. Just hold on to the removal for those late game plays. We got 30 card decks. You can see I've got like 4 cards left in my deck. He's down to like 1 or 2. So we've seen everything at this point. I've got no choice but to just play the Zillow Beasts. Shuts down those Magna Guards. And yeah, it's easy choice for him. He'll, take his actions. Basically taps me out. I don't think there's anything else I can play. Put some more damage in on base, and that Vanquish on the Zillow Beast pretty much seals it for him. There's nothing I can do to recover from that. Yeah, just further board control. Perfectly played 2 Vanquishes, shuts down. He ends up getting both games in that matchup. Just played his removal really timely, and I just didn't have as much removal. And so that was that. Lost the mirror matchup against the Newt Yellow. But like I said, I do like building decks like that where I'm just kind of, it's something new for me. At the end of a set, like pick a leader that you don't usually build around, try to set up some crazy plays. Got it to do its thing a couple times, which felt good. But definitely for Lightspeed, pre-release weekend, definitely looking for the meta leaders or the stronger leaders. I think Vader's going to be really strong in limited, which it just gives you, free options to set up pilots on and get, the value out of playing stuff as a pilot. I think Kaz is going to be good. I know I put him really low on my tier list. That was before I knew about the abilities rules change coming, which I'll talk about. I'm sure I'll talk about down the line when I make a Kaz video. Von Reg, I think, is going to be pretty good. There's going to be some good options, some strong leaders to play with, and that is definitely... Oh, and Boba, of course, like, as I mentioned earlier. I'll definitely be more optimal with my deck building this weekend. Best of luck. Obviously I'll have the camera with me. Pre-release weekend will be up on the channel. So I'll see you then.